So I was going to jump into Bleeding Edge in order to do Watch Zone. Actually, we should probably give her that. Alright, so I was going I was going to jump into Bleeding Edge in order to do some Watch Zone stuff, but I forgot I had a little bit of a hiccup with Microsoft Store and I had to delete some things, and now I had to re-download Bleeding Edge and a few other things, and certain things aren't working the way they usually would. And Microsoft, I love you guys, but why are your products so finicky? Anyway, what I was really going to say was, if that's the case, I should take some time to actually talk about the current state of Bleeding Edge like the way I always do. So, in my opinion, like I've said before, Bleeding Edge is in a very good state compared to when it launched. And if you don't believe me, remember, I don't know if you guys watch my videos a lot, but remember when I first did this review was around a 3.5 or something like that. And it had a lot of, and I mean a lot of negative reviews, like a lot, because people weren't understanding the actual gimmick and the actual gameplay of it. A lot of people complain that it's a melee fighter PvP, but it has characters that do things at a distance, like Kulov and Gizmo and such. A lot of people say that, you know, you have tanks that don't necessarily do damage, or they have too much damage, and blah blah blah. When it comes to Bleeding Edge, and I think this is the reason why I still say the game is good with the 4.6. When it comes to Bleeding Edge, similar to how this guy said, Aaron, this game is fun and very challenging, and I'm in love with it. He's not wrong. The thing about the game is that when you come into the game, there is a skill level that you have to actually acquire in order to actually kind of, not necessarily have fun, but in order to, you know, kind of survive a little bit and actually understand some things. Put it to you like this: there's a difference between a Buttercup who just comes up, yanks you, and then she just puts you in Crazy Blades, or, you know, she yanks you, puts down her oil slick, and then she does Crazy Blades, versus the Buttercup who walks up, jumps up, yanks you, does a knockdown, then does the oil, then does the Crazy Blades. And it's like, geez, like, you can tell the actual difference. And if you're someone who hasn't been playing Bleeding Edge as close to the beta like I have, you won't necessarily understand how to turn the tide of a fight around based on the actual characters that you're going up against, or you can't determine if you can outplay this person based on your skill set if you haven't been playing the game that long. If you don't have certain mods or a certain class equipped, it's gonna feel like you're behind. And crazy enough, for Bleeding Edge being the free game that it is and the complaints that it got, it surprisingly does have that advanced skill set. Like, you know, there are advanced level 30 Damon players out there. And I think that's probably some of the things that can actually deter people away. Surprisingly, Bleeding Edge has not a steep learning curve, but there is an actual learning curve there. So that, to me, is why I say Bleeding Edge is still fun. It's free, they haven't charged me for anything, and there's an actual, like, there's advanced movements, there's understanding your character's dashes and stuff like that. Understanding certain things that you can and cannot do. You can attack Makachu, but not for the longest period of time, because he's just going to break through with that armor, and he's going to give you an uppercut. If you're playing as Damon, you got to kind of smack Miko around, dash over here, and maybe come attack Maeve, and maybe help out your teammate who can't necessarily go up against that Nid, because, you know, Gizmo versus Nid doesn't necessarily work out, or Zero versus Nid in that case. You know, you kind of got to know what it is that you're doing. And if you haven't been a veteran Bleeding Edge player, you're going to come into the game and you're going to get those easy wipes, and you're going to assume that the game is just unbalanced, which a lot of people have probably done, and I can actually understand that frustration. But for people in the Bleeding Edge community who understand that, we know that this 4.6 rating is indeed well deserved, because like I said, when the game first came out, it had it was just okay in a way. I would say it was at the value of $20 to $30 or whatever. It was free on Game Pass, and it had its level of confusion to some people. And also, Ninja Theory wasn't able to do like updates, like, you know, every single day, or give us something new they don't have like trailers dropping on PlayStation. They don't have trailers dropping on the Xbox store about what's coming up next and stuff like that. And still, for a game like Bleeding Edge being what it is and going as long as it has been, I think it was April 24th or 25th, if I'm correct, when it launched. Yeah, 3/24, January, February, March. Yeah, if I'm correct, that's when the game actually launched. In my opinion, this is right. In my opinion, this is right, because Bleeding Edge over time, I'm telling you, for those of you who know, that Azrael update changed everything and made the game amazing. Out of nowhere. Granted, the game was still good to me, in my opinion. Leaderboards and adding Azrael made this game pretty good, because even if you're someone who's new, you can actually come in, and if you want to take the time to understand this game, you can take the time to understand this game and have your favorite character, and you can come in and actually enjoy stuff. They have custom lobby queues. Why can I not talk? Probably because I like this game so much. They have custom queues now. So even if you're not that good, or if you don't have a teammate that you actually want to run with, they have custom queues because you know you may not be at the best skill level in the world. And I'm not even sure what else to really say about that. As far as like, yeah, I don't want this video to be like a long, super long video, but as far as like the current state of Bleeding Edge, obviously I myself couldn't give it a perfect 5 because I feel like we need another game mode. I feel like we still need another game mode just to kind of make things a little bit more interesting when I'm doing these watch zone videos. Between Power Cell as well as Objective Control, I can kind of understand what to expect, and I can kind of get hype over certain things that I know might happen. But other than the modifiers that they added, I'd say Bleeding Edge still needs at least one more game mode. What that game mode could be, I don't know. Maybe they could do like Fortnite did with like a Save the World mode, which is just basically like not PvP, but you know, PvE in a way, and I've stated that. Bleeding Edge to me would probably have an amazing PvE. Like if they can add gizmos, turrets, as well as the certain other little things that pop up around the map that actually go up against you, as well as like, you know, the missiles that come down on, I forget what it is, it's not Sky Garden. The missiles that come down on that one map, forgive me, I'm forgetting right now. And all the little other things that go up against the player, I think Bleeding Edge would have an amazing PvE. But for right now, at the current state of what it is, a 4.6 is probably because of the fact that when you look at Bleeding Edge and you take the time to understand it, it is really fun. Granted, you might get those games where the other team is better than you, and they might wipe you and the other team because you don't have a Kulov or a cast player that's actually good. But if you like smacking people around with Elbastardo and Buttercup, or if you just like playing with Nid and making people feel the thunder, then you're gonna actually have some fun with that. And that's the nature of why I still say I like Bleeding Edge. And these are just a few achievements that I have. Not sure why I'm looking down at all this. Yeah, honestly feel like this right here is well deserved. Like I said a few months ago, this was at like a 3.5, and there was a lot of frustration about this game. But now, currently, as I sit at 51% waiting to drop into the watch zone, yeah, man, it's a very underrated game on the Game Pass. Most people will probably look it over and probably not play it, but for those who have just some free time on their hand, or they're not necessarily that competitive on the PvP scale, this is very well enjoyable. I mean, come on, dude, it says for ages 13 and up. If you look at the art style in Bleeding Edge and you don't like it, man, I don't know what to tell you. Literally, the art style in Bleeding Edge is what drew me to the game. Literally. Looking at Damon, come on, dude. I'm trying to one day get my own Damon cosplay together. Looking at Damon, you can't tell me that this game doesn't have a beautiful art style. You cannot tell me that. Man. Anyway, guys, that's literally all I want to say. I'm curious as to what Bleeding Edge will actually do for future updates, and whether they will do like a third game mode or maybe a PvE or something like that. But for right now, 4.6 or whatever it is, close to 5 stars on the Xbox Game Store, that's actually pretty surprising, because if you're a fan of Bleeding Edge, you know this was a really scary ride with the current updates that were going on. The Makato update was pretty good, but when it came to what you can do in Bleeding Edge, when it came out with no skins, it had a few bugs. People were just not getting matches done, like matches were loading super slow and stuff like that. It was kind of rough at first. It was kind of scary, but people stuck in because they knew for a fact that the developers themselves really loved this game. Like to go from doing a game like Seshua and to do a side project and actually really focus on that project, to step away from an RPG to do a PvP thing, if I'm correct, I've never played Seshua, I'm sorry. That tells you that that is a passion project. And if you guys know me, I like games that feel like passion projects rather than just trying to push out a AAA game to the market to please investors and stuff like that. That's just me. Again, waiting on this download, which is now at 58%. And yeah, man, Bleeding Edge, if you want to buy it by itself, is $23, which I said is probably around the value of what it should be, like $29 or $30 or something like that. If Bleeding Edge came out with like a season 2 with some crazy stuff, maybe then it could be valued at 50. But since it's still on the Game Pass, I don't ever see it ever going that high. Like, it's just, god, I keep rambling, but it's like, dude, Bleeding Edge is a small, it's like a small fan-made game, but with some AAA polish. Like, it's a very small game, but it has that AAA polish. If it did not have this AAA polish, if it was from an unknown developer or something like that, I don't think it would have gotten nearly as well as it has today. Man, I love this damn game, and I'm sure the rest of you guys love this game as much as I do. Whew, if there's anyone who's watching this video that's a dev, I thank you for this game, because this game has kept me entertained for the majority of 2020 ever since its launch. Okay, now I am done with everything that I finally want to say. If you enjoyed this video, you know what to do. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but just so you know, I will be doing Bleeding Edge videos for just about the majority of this game being alive, because like I said, it's freaking different than all the things that I end up playing and constantly seeing in the AAA landscape. My name is Chaos the Gamer, and yes, I love Bleeding Edge almost more than coffee. Almost. Anyway, I'll see you misfits out there around. Peace out.